Hello everyone, this is called the A to Z book tag. I was indirectly tagged by Bonnie Nicole. You should go check out her channel, please. I did not get whoever originated this tag, so if you see this and you made this, please come say hello or something. There are 26 prompts because this is every letter of the alphabet. A. Author you've read the most books from. So that's an easy one because it is indeed Larry Niven. I have read 35 of his books, or I should say at least 35 of his books that have his name on it, because he did do an anthology series where other authors were allowed to join in. This is the first book I ever read by him. It's called Protector. This is a first contact book. It is a hard sci-fi book that gets a little wonky there at the end. This is an amazing book written by him. And it is the first thing I read that came in his Known Space series of books. After that, I jumped right into Ringworld. So these do take place in the same universe. Ringworld happened centuries after the events of this book. The megastructure. Now we've got gravity control and faster light travel and immortality and all that good stuff coming in. It is important in the long run, I think, to read this book first. If you've never read Known Space books, read this one first, and you'll find out why as you get into more of the Ringworld books. It has a prequel series of Ringworld books, by the way, and those wound up being awesome also. I was a little, I don't know, a whole nother prequel set. No, it's damn good. For good reason, Arthur C. Clarke called Larry Niven his favorite author. I should say, too, he's probably known best for Ringworld and megastructures in space. But one thing that Niven does better than any author is the sociology of aliens. He is damned good at it, and it shines right through here in the very first one, which is a first contact once again. Letter B, the best sequel ever. I have to say, I am trying to not be repetitive with myself for the couple of dozen people who tune in regularly. So I didn't want to go with the same old things I've done in other videos. So I tried to pick out some new things. I don't think I've talked about that much. So here is Arm of the Sphinx by Josiah Bancroft. This is the second in the Books of Babel. Known primarily, I think people call it Senlin Ascends, which is the name of the first book. This is the second book. The first book features the whole series features this tower in here. How well can I show that to you? So there's a town by it for scale. This thing is huge. I have trouble scaling it because it feels like that could be a mile across, but it's not like each one of these levels could be a mile high, because then you get this thing that it'd be like 10 miles high or 7 miles. I believe there's 7 levels, if I recall. So it might be that the whole thing is 1 mile high and it's a mile across, but that would be just a big block, not a tower. So it's a little hard to scale it, but there it is. And in the second one, what I love, here's a good picture that was painted. The tower sits in the middle of a valley. It's like a bowl, and it's surrounded by mountains. And there's this moment where you can see the tower in the distance. You're inside the bowl, but they're floating around in an airship. And I have never wanted to live on an airship more than the moments that I read through in this book. This is an astounding sequel in a 4-book series you should go get if you have not. Currently reading. This came to me via Pinterest advertisement. Plasma Pulp. It's like it's an attempt at old science fiction. It is not old science fiction. This is a modern written stories. And it feels like it too. And I'm going to do a video on that next Monday. At the moment, I'm kind of on the fence with it. Letter D, drink of choice while reading. So I used to be a hell of a coffee drinker. I love coffee. I love Dunkin' Donuts. Medium coffee, double. Because of some gut problems that developed, I had to give up coffee and keep sugar lower, and things are kind of better, but not entirely. But the only thing I drink now is, almond milk, water, and zero sugar Gatorade. That's pretty much all I drink. But it used to be coffee. Oh man! And then I got a coffee maker that had those little cups and caramel flavored coffee. My God, I love coffee. I miss it so much. Letter F. Fictional character you probably would have dated in high school. Okay. So here's the problem. I had opportunities, but I was too shy and stupid in high school and kind of joked my way out of those opportunities. I could go into my psychology. It wasn't good, and just didn't happen. But try to answer the question, there is a series of Dungeons and Dragons books, starting with this one, White Plume Mountain by Paul Kidd. There are 3 in this particular series, and this little lady right here. Now she's a little sprite, little sphinx, what the hell do they call her? Well, she's a little fairy woman. So she's only like 2 feet tall. So what are you gonna do? Well, that's her fella, and so they use potions that change her size to a normal size in order for relations to take place. But the character Ashala is smart and hilarious, both on purpose and not so on purpose. This is a series of books right here. Was Guardians of the Galaxy before there was Guardians of the Galaxy. They're so much fun to read. I think anybody will enjoy them. You don't need to like Dungeons and Dragons or know that much about it to enjoy them. And that is a great cast of characters in that series. Letter G. Glad you gave this book a chance. So many years ago, I read Stormfront by Jim Butcher, first in the Dresden series. And at the time, I was like, well, that was okay, but I didn't continue. I thought I would from time to time. If I'm just between books and need something, I would just grab the next one. I just never got back to it. Last year, I decided, thanks to people on Discord who were just in love with the series, I decided to give it another go. And oh boy, am I glad I did. This is going to be, if I make a top 10 list of fantasy series, or maybe any series, regardless of genre, this will be on it. Dresden is it's so wonderfully character driven. It's a huge cast. It's a well-built world. It's everything you want in a series of books, and emotionally very devastating. It's so good. And I am very glad I gave that a chance. If you don't know that much about it, think John Constantine. He's basically a magic detective, only he is a full-blown wizard, and he is pretty powerful, but seems to get more and more powerful as the series goes on. I'm wondering what limit Jim Butcher will place on him in the end. Letter H, a hidden gem of a book. So I decided to grab a couple because for a couple good reasons. So this is The Song of the Beast by Carol Berg, and I was so happy. I thought nobody ever read this book but me. And turns out this past year on booktube, a handful of people got their hands on it. And of course, guess what? They loved it. This fellow here, this scene takes place in the book. I love when cover art shows something that happens in the book. Dragons are used as basically air assault. They have dragon riders. They're not very bright. This guy here, not a magic bard, but he is a singer. And he gets mutilated and thrown in prison, and he doesn't understand why. And he gets out, he is released, and he has to go find out what this mystery is. And this is his journey in doing so. I cannot recommend this enough. This is such good fantasy storytelling. And this is not the only, this is a standalone book. She does have, she got a couple of series out. I've read one other by her, and she is an outstanding author. The other one I brought up just because recently I watched booktuber Katarina Reem, who had just watched Superman and loved it and wanted more, and I recommended this book to her. This is Who Can Save Us Now? This is a short story collection of alternate versions of some of the superheroes you've heard of, from Superman and Lois type characters start as the first story in the book, and I remember if it was my favorite or not. I have not picked this up in years. So Superman's a little bit of a lunkhead, and she's the brains going, look, you need to use your powers to do this and save this part of the world, and he goes off to do these things and becomes very famous and popular because of it. So there's a little gem for you to pick up for, we got Fantastic Four and Superman. Feel like they're bringing comic book movies back to a better place. So there's a good book for you. Letter I, important moments in your reading life. So it says important like one, but let me throw a few at you. These are some level up books. There have been others, but these were the start. So this is the novelization to Star Wars. And as you can see, this is the original one given to me in 1981. And yeah, I'm keeping it even though it's falling apart. I have replaced it with a newer one. And I devoured it. I loved the Star Wars movies. And I think at the time, these are only a couple hundred pages. It took me like 6 hours to read it. And for about a year, I reread it about once a month. I just loved reading it. And I had read some things before, but this one now kicked me in the head. And now I wanted to become more of a reader of a variety of books. Many years later, this is Ray Bradbury, The Illustrated Man, a short story collection with a interconnecting plot line. And I knew nothing of Ray Bradbury. I heard something about Martian Chronicles. The only reason I actually picked it up is because I wrote a short story in high school, The Follower by Monty Adkins Jr., which you can buy as an ebook for 99 cents on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, by the way. And the teacher read my story out loud to the class and said to me, this reminded her of Ray Bradbury's The City. I didn't know what that was. Well, it's in here, and it's actually my favorite story in that book. The Belt, The Long Rain, and The City are my favorites in that. And this was the other big one. Now we're jumping decades here. There's all kinds of stuff I read through the 80s. We're talking encyclopedia, choose your own adventure books, comic books galore. Through the 90s, a lot of Dungeons and Dragons novels, which were hit and miss. And then it was, what year did I get this? This had to be like 2000, somewhere around 2003 to 5. I was just itching for some kind of serious drama fantasy, and I went and I knew of this series, Lord Fowl's Bane by Stephen Donaldson. This is the first book of my favorite fantasy series of all time. This is not for everybody. It really isn't. It's so goddamn good, though. I wouldn't even have called this something for me at the time that I picked it up. And it turned out to be just something I fell in love with. 10 books in that series. All of them goddamn good. That was I. So J, just finished. I just finished and did a video on The Unkindness of Shadows. John Linwood talked about a little bit vaguely like Dresden and John Constantine. Psychic. I can't say psychic detective because the man doesn't have superpowers of any kind. He just finds himself in oddball situations, and he has the mental fortitude to handle it. This is pretty grown-up writing, kind of low magic, though there's some little hints of high magic going on in the background. Just finished. K, kind of books you wouldn't read. I have yet to read any kind of romance. I like when romance happens in books that I'm reading that aren't specifically romance, but I have no real desire to ever pick up a romance book. There's certain romantic comedy movies I like. Splash, loved Splash, so I'd go for that. But Romancing the Stone, oh my God, that wonderful movie. I haven't seen that in a long time. But if maybe there's some romance out there like that, and I could pick that up, but I don't see it happening. L, the longest book you read. So clocking in at 1,107 pages, I believe it is Patrick Rothfuss, The Wise Man's Fear. This is the second in the King Killer book. Talk about best sequels ever. I almost just said, went with this, but I wanted to, vary up my answers a bit. I think I've told people I read this in a single day. And I was thinking about it a couple weeks ago, That's impossible. It's physically impossible because in order to do it from the, I know I started reading about 4 a.m. and I didn't get done until late in the evening. I stayed up and finished this book, but I did a little math. I'd have to read a page a minute, and I can't do that. So I must have gotten a head start on the day before and got a pretty decent amount. So 2 days I read this. That's the longest one. You know, like everybody else, waiting half patiently and patiently on book 3. I hope it happens. It's obviously not going to be this year, maybe not next year, who knows. M, a major book hangover because of, so I just mentioned Lord Fowl's Bane. So here's the last book, Stephen R. Donaldson, The Last Dark, the 10th book in the Chronicles. This is the end. I was actually able to read this during a week off that I took for a birthday, and I just sat and I did read this in one day. I did not put this down. Started at the beginning, took meal breaks and pee breaks, bam, and I'm glad I did. This stuck the landing. Perfect 10 landing. And it doesn't even quite give you every little solution, but the solutions you wanted, you've got. It's just that there are other things that were kind of sitting there I had wondered about through the whole 10 books, and it kind of dangles them and teases you a bit. But this was just a culmination of decades. This guy wrote this series. He admitted that he was a pretty slow writer, but fast enough I got all 10 books in. In a way, I'm glad I discovered it late, so I didn't have to wait that long. Letter N, number of bookcases you own. I was going to try to pick this up and scan around, but it's a little wonky sitting here like this. So I got 9. 1, 2, 3 of them are very close to the ceiling. The others are about chest high. At the moment, it's somewhere around 1,100 books. So I have unhauled books from time to time. So I need a 10th one, and we'll get back to that later. One book you have read multiple times. Well, there's a few sitting here. Again, I read this at least twice. I think there might have been a third. Ringworld, I read twice. Oh, goodness. The sequel to Lord Fowl's Bane, this could have been best sequel ever. The Ill-Earth War. I have not reread it cover to cover, but I've probably wound up rereading it. What culminates to many times over is I do like to go through and pick out favorite passages and reread them, because this is maybe by default my favorite fantasy book ever, since it's part of my favorite fantasy series, and it's certainly my favorite in the 10 books. Nothing is so far behind that a given book sucks. That's 10 good books in a 10 book series. P, preferred place to read. Generally, I'm sitting in a chair over here, or I'm in bed reading before bed. Yes, I am a bathroom reader. Occasionally, I get an opportunity to read at work, but otherwise, it's the chair or the bed. Q, a quote that inspires you. Here we go. Pardon me. So this is 2001, A Space Odyssey by Arthur C. Clarke. From the foreword. Behind every man now alive stand 30 ghosts, for that is the ratio by which the dead outnumber the living. Since the dawn of time, roughly 100 billion human beings have walked the planet Earth. Now, this is an interesting number, for by curious coincidence, there are approximately 100 billion stars in our local universe, the Milky Way. So, for every man who has ever lived in the universe, there shines a star. That's flippin' beautiful. Blame Star Wars for making me a space guy. R, a reading regret. That was an easy one. It was recent. Just so bad. This is a long-running series, too. A Forest of Vanity and Valor by A.P. Beswick. This is like a reimagined sort of like Robin Hood kind of sort of. And it's just, this is literally, there's one reason and one reason only you read this book, because you're an aspiring author and you want to know how not to write a book. This is just bad in every single way a book can be bad, from characters to the plotting to the, oh, let me change my mind, but I've always been like this, but not really, for this wrong motivation. And it's just, dialogue sucks. It's just worst book. I think I'm just holding on to it just as a lesson of what not to do. Series started, and this is S, letter S. Series started and need to finish. Well, I mean, so we've got Dungeon Crawler Carl sitting back here. We've got 4 books sitting here. This is Titan Hoppers. That's the name of the series and the first book. They're on book 4, which I just recently read, and so there's supposed to be 6. We got 2 more to wait on. And Dresden, of course, whenever that comes out. And of course, like I said, we're all waiting on this. That'll be in a top 10 fantasy series of all time if he sticks the landing. The letter T, 3 of your all-time favorite books. So I don't know that these are actually the three, right? But I do have them sitting here. Number 1, The Illithid War by Stephen R. Donaldson. This I haven't mentioned yet. I mentioned in a few videos before. Paul McCauley, Evening's Empire. So this is a really good hard sci-fi book. It takes place primarily in the outer solar system. This is a dude, his family's ship gets hijacked. Everyone killed but him, and he gets out and escapes, and he needs to find out why this happened. A lot of betrayal, a lot of drama, a lot of good science fiction in this. And this could have been a hidden gem book, because I'm one of the few people that I've ever heard talk about this. It is actually 4th in a series, but it is a standalone. You do not need to read the other 3. I went back and I accidentally read this first. Went back and read the other 3, loved them, but I can vouch you can read this by itself, just outstanding. That's 2. And for the longest time, I did call this my favorite book. I don't know how to really stick that and say it definitely is and always was, or what have you, but this one, I should have called this a level up book too. So those 3 right there. Badam, Illithid War. Badam, Evening's Empires, Protector. They would definitely make a top 10 list. I don't know about what's my number 1 favorite book. That's crazy to even try. You, Unapologetic Fanboy 4. I think that answers your question. But this is about books. And I stuck them somewhere. Where'd they go? Did I not stick them somewhere? Oh, there they go. There they go. So, of all I haven't read like all the expanded universe Star Wars books. I gave a lot of them a try, and the majority are ugh. But these, the novelization of Return of the Jedi, and the novelization of Revenge of the Sith by Matthew Stover. Oh my goodness! These can also be called hidden gems. The actual writing, the prose, and the emotional content of these books are astounding. I got smacked in the face reading this. Just the final lines in this, and then the way Stover treats the characters and describes them, and gets deeper with them in their thoughts. You get more, you get more character stuff because you have more room in a book than you do a movie. And I was just blown away. I couldn't believe it. So there you go. V, very excited for this release more than others, and that will be the 7th book next week in Dungeon Crawler Carl. Next month rather. I thought it was already out, but no, people were getting like ebooks, and are able to get them and reading them already. So I already thought it was out, but that'll be next month. Everything else gets moved aside when I get my hands on that. So that was also W, worst bookish habit. Well, there it is. This is where all the new books go when I'm done with them, because I don't have any more shelf space. Now I do need to buy a 10th, but I don't have a place to put them. The apartment's nice, but it's not big enough for all the stuff I have. I could shove it in my room maybe, but I want all my books out here in my face. I have a little corner over there, but in order to put a book thing there, I'd have to move 2 trunks and a lamp, and I can't get the lamp out of the way because I didn't think ahead when I put the book thing in front of the plug, and so I can't get my hand behind here to unplug the lamp to move the other stuff and put a bookcase in there. So, oh well, this is just going to have to do. X marks the spot. Start at the top left bookcase and pick the 27th book. So I picked one and started counting of the 9. So this is Joe Haldeman, and this is the book Camouflage. How to explain this? So you get this premortal, it's from another world, this premortal thing, this goo, and over the course of its evolution, you see it get a little smarter. And it starts to adapt. It has been able to make its way to Earth and is splashed down into the Earth, and over billions of years evolves and becomes intelligent and comes up to the surface world. It has an opponent who has done much the same but in a different way and is powerful in a different way. He can change shape, blend in, become something else. This was one of the coolest books I have ever read, so I'm glad I didn't count 27. It was some stink of a book. I go, this sucked. No, this is good. This is the author of The Forever War, which I decided to go read and found a little lukewarm on it. But no, this is the first Haldeman book I read. Just picked it up on a whim. I actually remember outstanding reading. Why? Your latest book purchase. That is right here. There's 2 of them. I can't remember which one I bought first. I bought them this past week. Here's an oldie but a goodie. This is not next, though. Anne McCaffrey, The Ship Who Sang. Person, I believe their brain is implanted into a ship, and then she falls in love with a crew member, if I remember. That's the basic plot of it. So there's an old classic one. I had to go through to get this. There's a used bookstore in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and you have to go right through the college. And I know right where to go to get to this bookstore, and parking is always a problem. Except that there is a specific parking garage, and I've never failed. You go up the road, make a left, go up, and you're in there. And I'll be damned, 2 times along the same road, I had to be detoured for frickin' construction. And then I tried to leave, and it's just an automated system to pay for your ticket. The stupid thing broke, and it wouldn't work until I had to call someone and back the car up to like reset it when I pulled forward and got through. But I was going to that book. It better be good. Also, this came to my attention via Katerina Ream. R.F. Kuang, Catabasis. That is the next one. Something about a journey through hell. I believe the author joked about she came up with this while in school, and something about academia's hell or something. So here's someone's journey through it. I read The Pompey War, which I loved, but its sequel was so boring I didn't bother with the 3rd book. And then Babel, which I actually enjoyed. So that's going to be the next one after I get done with the book I'm writing right now. So Z, ZZ Snatcher book, the last book that kept you up late. So I can't stay up late for reasons I won't get into, but when I could, it was this one. I read this, like I said, I got started about 4 a.m. I want to say I knocked off about midnight. And that's the one that kept me up late. I just had to know this is a page turner. The first book was damn good, and I just did not want to put this down. I had to know. Wise Man's Fear. So that's it. I'm going to tag a bunch of people. We'll see who we can get here. Where's my thingy do? Here we go. I told her I was going to tag her the other day, so Chanel Chapters is tagged. Where's she at? Where's she at? One of only the best fantasy. So what dude does is what I normally do, and I do one book video reviews, just one. And so we're going to see if we can get him to do a book tag. I don't think he's done one that I know of. I might, no, I'm not going to get them. I wanted to, where'd she go? Oh, here's an underrated channel. This is a new channel in my life. Sandy Says Read. So I am going to tag her. And then I got one more I really wanted to do. I don't know if she does book tags. Nikki Hawks, the obsessive bookseller. And the reason I want to tag her, this woman has an actual full-size Barnes & Noble in her house, complete with rolling carts and ladders. And some number of videos ago, she goes, she had a 15-year TBR, and she's whittled it down, but 15 years worth of reading sitting there. And so I'm very curious as to what her answers are going to be to these questions. That is it. A bit of a long one. That's okay. I wanted to do this one because it was fun. Oh, wait. There's one more. Gavin at Genre Books I'm going to tag because so he tags me a lot for book tags. And a lot of them I sit there reading along at the questions. I'm like, I don't have good answers for these. So I wind up not doing them. So in full-blown hypocrisy, book tag hypocrisy, I'm going to tag Gavin also. That is it. See you in a few days with another video review. Bye-bye.